everyone. What happened to that? How's everyone doing? Today I'm going to be spinning some stacked yarns. I'm just trying to see if I can post about my stream on Instagram, for which I thought I'd already made a post, but things disappear on you. Okay. So this is the kind of yarn I'm trying to make. I've already spun the singles, which is from Homestead Hobbyist. I'm forgetting the name. Kraken. Devious Kraken. I have the label here somewhere. Yep, Deviant Kraken. It's 50% merino, 25% baby alpaca, and 25% mulberry silk from the Homestead Hobbyist. Ken, who does amazing fiber preps, and that fiber is this, which is a mix of, you know, deep blues, reds. Hey Wanda, hello from Vegas, hello from Seattle. So that's the fiber blend that I've spun up. Now this was a top that had all these different fibers mixed up in it, and I spun it from the fold so I would get these pops of color more distinctively. So I have that as my single, and then the other single. Hi Karina. So this is the other single. This I had the same fiber which I spun from the end. So it was spun like a regular worsted spun, and in between I kept, you know, breaking off my fiber supply and adding this yellow bat that I made out of merino silk and sparkle, and that is what is going to make the stacks. So we'll see how that goes. At least that's what the plan is. um, I might have to play around with where I keep the bobbins and things like that, because that's always a challenge. Casper has come to say hi. Hi Casper. I'm going to be spinning now. How do you know I'm going to spin? And you come to say hi to everyone? Yeah? Daddy going to spin. You want to watch? You can watch. That's fine. Everyone on YouTube is watching as well. Oh, you're feeling shy now? Yeah, he's feeling shy now. He's like, I don't want to be on camera. So there we go. I'm gonna take one of my plies from here. So I did spin up just that sample. So we'll see how it actually goes in when I'm actually spinning, you know, a whole thing of it. So it might take me a while to set up, but you know, that's what real spinning is. It's not always very straightforward. So I like to tie a square knot with which then I can easily slip off my yarn. I don't need to cut off my leader or anything. It just makes it so much more easier. Does anyone want to see how that works? It's a thing that I learned from Sarah Anderson's videos. If yes, then I will remove this and show you how easily my yarn comes off. I'll show you anyway. So basically, when I'm done spinning, all I have to do is I just pull my leader yarn straight, and my yarn comes out free. There is nothing left on my leader. I don't have to cut my leader, and my leader is basically crochet cotton, so it is pretty smooth. So I'll show you how I make that knot again. We have some more leader there so you can see. I take my yarns that I'm going to ply together, a square knot. So that's my leader is on top. Do that, turn it around this way, and then you put the leader on top again, going above here, and then pull it from inside the loop. So that's what the square knot looks like. Can you see that? So you just tighten it and it'll stay in place. As long as the two leaders are, going in that direction and your yarn is going here, this will stay in place. To remove, all you do is you pull your leader straight this way and your yarn will just slide out. So, and there is no knot in here as well, so you don't lose anything. So this is the way I like to show it one more time. So if you just Google square knot, you will see this. So this is what basically, and this is a good contrast, so you can actually see how the yarn is flowing. This is what you essentially want. Okay, so that's in place, and we're going to start plying, and hopefully this goes as planned. So for the most part of it, it's going to be just a regular ply. See, I just almost missed that. Whenever I see my yellow fiber come along, that's when I'm going to make a stack. So this is the way the stack is made. Okay, I have too much take up, so I have to reduce the take up, and I'm going to treadle slowly while I make my stack. To keep making it. I'm not done with the yellow. And then you can stop right there. And there is extra twist that builds up, but then you just spin along and wait for the next stack to appear. There's our next bit of yellow section. So as you can see, it's not the fastest yarn to make, but it definitely has a very distinctive look to it. And I'm thinking I maybe should have made slightly smaller yellow sections, but if you can go big, then why not? Okay, so that locks it in place, and that's how that looks. I can probably take it up a little bit more and then bring it down so I don't have any yellow in the yarn there. So that's just another way. So, and this will stay this way, it's not moving anywhere. You can see it's pretty much in place, and once it's washed, it'll kind of stay together as well. Okay, again, and you don't want it. I'm finding the take up a little bit much, so I'm keep reducing the take up. And I'm, assisting that bead to form using my fingers. I still find the take up is too much, so I'm going to reduce it even further. Let's see if that helps. I don't want to struggle holding my bead in its place out here while I wrap it around. There we go. That should do it. There you go. Okay, so what I'm going to try is I'm going to go on the lowest wall because that's where I'll have the least take up. So we'll see how that. Okay, here I need to move this up. Let's see. There's always a little bit of adjustment with every different art yarn, especially how you want things taken up and how much you want it pulled. And I think this might be better, but we'll see. And the only way you can find out whether it works is when you actually do. No, too much take up. Yeah, see, when it's taking up before I can wrap the bead, like I want the bead to remain in this position while I am doing the winding. I don't want to struggle to pull it up. So you're going to see all the struggles when it comes to making yarns like this. That's what you're here for, right? To see me fail at this. Go. I'd like it a little bit more tighter than that. There we go. I like that better. Oh, you got your flyer yesterday? Oh, that'll be amazing. Yeah. Okay, what I'm going to try is I'm going to move it down here and I'm going to pass it through the delta because that reduces take up significantly. And so we're going to try that and see if that helps. So the thing with spinning is, especially spinning with art yarns, because there's a little bit of complexity to what you're doing. If something is not working, change it and see if that helps. Okay, this is a lot better. Yeah, you can see I can now even actually make a really nice tight thing and the yarn is not getting pulled away from my hand. And all I had to do was too close to the delta. There we go. All I had to do was pass the yarn going through that delta, and that reduced that take up significantly, with which I have a lot more control in making my bead. So now you know. So before giving up on the yarn or giving up on the wheel, saying that, oh, this wheel cannot do that, try different things, and there's usually a way you can figure things out. So see, now I can even roll it much easily. I'm not fighting holding the bead in place. And see, I can make a much tighter bead than what I was doing before. So that's how you can find out whether it works or not. See, that's so much more neater than the first two I made. And it was all changing the yarn coming through that delta. So sometimes when the take up is just a bit too much and I cannot get it adjusting just right, that's the next thing I try. and it works brilliantly. Oof, that scared me. Casper's excitement over somebody in our cul-de-sac. So how many of you are missing the Masha Craft camp? I have been pretty jealous of knowing all the fun people are having there. It's in New Zealand, so I guess they can do fiber events in public and do all that learning and all that fiber sharing. And you'll notice that when I'm making the bead, I really treadle very slowly. I'm liking this. Now I'm getting into the good rhythm of it. So as you can see, it takes a while, but then you finally figure out how to do it. Very slow treadling to make my stack. Go. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the Patreon supporters who have been contributing every month and supporting all these live feeds with which I can keep buying more fiber and keep bringing more of these fun art yarn videos to you. I recently purchased another book, which I'm really excited to try things out in it. Uh, I still need to do some reading on it, but it looks promising with some very interesting yarns. Though I might take a break from art yarns too for a little bit. I might do some traditional yarns. I do want to spin for socks again. I feel like doing that again. It will be my third sock spin. Uh, I already finished another second sock spin. I'm not going to give much details of it, but since you're watching live, I can show you a preview of my sock yarn. That's my sock yarn. So that is chain plied, and that's how it looks. And of course, my camera is now refusing to focus, so hold on just a second. There we go. Now it's focusing. Yeah. So that's my chain plied sock yarn. I have two skeins, and I divided the fibers so that I could make matching socks. So that will be happening soon as well. So there'll be knitting. Uh, don't know if you want to see me live knitting socks. I'm not going to be doing it on my machine. I'm going to be hand knitting them. At least that's what the plan is. We'll see how that goes. The thing I like about this wheel is that even if you're passing your yarn through the delta and you have these big huge beads going on or anything, and you even mess that up, you can still pull it off and it's fine. But it's so much in your control, you know. You can pass anything through this. There is nothing stopping the size of an object you can pass through this, which also is making me want to spin some really weird things into my yarn, which might happen at some point. Go. This would be a great yarn for weaving. I actually kind of have an idea of how I would even like to use this yarn in a weaving project. I will have to set up my loom for that for sure. What type of spinning wheel this is? This is the Craft Aura wheel. Um, they are based in New Zealand, and it's really good for traditional yarns. I've done very fine spinning on this, spinning a pair of spinning yarn for a pair of socks. English. And and so I can spin something as fine as that, and I have spin things extremely bulky. Let me show you a quick variation on this. I have the yarn that I had prepared, so I can show you till what size extremes you can go. So this is another yarn with a very similar technique actually. It still stacks, but it has these huge, humongous wooden beads in the yarn. So I can spin this yarn on this as well, and I have no issues of stuck going through the orifice or through, because it's an open delta. I can push anything through it. So this was spun on this wheel as well, and I have spun sock yarn as fine as this on this wheel as well with no issues. Can you teach yourself how to use it? Yes. Are you familiar with spinning at all? Or you have no knowledge of spinning? And the reason I ask is because, spinning, there are some people who really require help in learning how to spin. Uh, Not that I didn't require, I also required help figuring out things. But it's one of those crafts, like the more you do it, the more you will understand how to do it, or what works well for you, or which side do you like your bobbins to be, or whether you like to draft from your left hand or right hand. Unless you do it, you will not know what works well. So, of course, there are brilliant teachers online, there are several YouTube videos, and all of that. And then what you actually make with the yarns and stuff is again your creativity, right? Like making this kind of yarn, it's not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone wants to make art yarn. Um, but I like to push myself and see what kinds of yarns I can create with this wheel. So that's what I do. So with every yarn I make, it's kind of like a challenge to see whether I can make it. So I have to learn things. Uh, you want to learn, but you like to start learning with a good tool. I understand. Oh, your husband weaves. Oh, that's nice. So then you can always spin some amazing art yarns for him to weave with. So, so yeah, I highly recommend this wheel. I can let you know this hasn't been my first wheel or the wheel that I learned spinning on. Learned my first wheel was it wasn't my wheel. It was a borrowed wheel, which was an Ashford traditional wheel. A very good beginner learning wheel. And then as I got comfortable with it, I wanted to learn more about spinning and you know go attend workshops and stuff, and that wasn't really a good travel wheel. So then I purchased an electric wheel, which is my Hanson electric, on which I still spin, which is right here actually. It's that's the size. It's the size of a toaster. It's electric, and it works really well for traditional yarns for me. There are people who spin amazing art yarns on it as well. I find it very difficult to spin art yarns on it because I like to do very weird things when I spin art yarns. So I highly recommend a wheel like that too if travel is important to you. The new Daedalus wheels, Magpie, or the Sparrow is a real small one. They have the Magpie, which can handle art yarns too. That's an electric wheel too. That is pretty amazing when it comes to electric wheels. Um, this wheel I have always wanted to try things on because I've heard amazing things, especially when it comes to art yarn. And it also has the capability to do very fine lace or very fine like cotton yarn. It has a quill attachment with which you could do cotton. It has it has a lot of different possibilities. And since they are based in New Zealand, there were a few places where I could actually test out this wheel before committing to it. Uh, it's not the cheapest, because it has all these amazing capabilities and it is beautifully crafted. It is a beautiful wheel to look at. I was fortunate to participate in the Artist in Residence program through Fibery Goodness. They have a Facebook group that you can join. Uh, that's Fibery Goodness, and they sent me this wheel to see what all I could do with it. And since we are on this subject, I would also, y'all are the first people getting to hear this actually on my live feed, is that the artisan program is officially ended, and the wheel is now sitting here in its forever home. So this wheel is mine now, and there's still going to be a lot of spinning. I'm still going to be sharing a lot of the spinning that I do. Yeah, you prefer non-electric. I can totally understand. I like the meditative process of spinning. I like the reason why I have my Hanson electric kept out there. Like it sometimes for my Zoom meetings where I can just spin on it, and I spin only traditional worsted spin kind of yarns on it. For me, that's kind of like, okay, or before the pandemic when I used to go for coffee meetups and stuff, that's the wheel I used to take with me. I have a Lendrum as well. A Lendrum is a really good wheel as well. And before I got this Aura to play with, I was spinning all my art yarns on the Lendrum, which is also a really good beginner wheel to learn things on. It again has a lot of capabilities. You can spin fine, you can spin bulky yarns. It comes with different heads, and it is reasonably priced as well. But because of the kind of art yarns I'm making is with these big bag beads in it and really bulky stuff and add-ins with big sequins and stuff, I was running into a bottleneck every now and then with the Lendrum, like the take up issues. Like it has a big enough orifice through which I can still pass and stuff, but for me the take up was becoming a problem, and it's a Scotch tension. So I had to keep cranking the scotch tension, and I used to land up breaking it more often. So this is definitely a lot better. So Karina says, you get a lot of migraines and have spinal fluid leaks. You spend a lot of time in bed. Yeah, you always prefer a traditional leak. I totally get that. Even I like the meditative process, and if you don't care about the price, I would highly recommend the Aura. I'm not being partial about it. So ever since I the residence program started, I wanted to see how much I would miss my Lendrum wheel. So I actually packed that up, and I felt that if during this residence program, um, yes, I will email you. Thanks for your message, and it should be there on my thing. So I will send you an email with specifications on this wheel. So as far as so I kept my Lendrum on hold just to see that while I'm on in this artist in residence program, spinning all these different kind of yarns on this wheel, am I really going to miss my Lendrum for some things? And so that was kind of like a test I put to know that is there something which this wheel cannot do for which I really want my Lendrum. My Lendrum for the last 6 months is still been in its packed state. I haven't opened it up. I still keep spinning every yarn on this. Uh, on my Hansen, my electric wheel, I have I've used it only for plying some traditional wheels in the last few months, and I did do a sock spin on it, but I've done a sock spin on this wheel as well. So, like I said, I like the Hansen for my, you know, like my plain stockinette kind of knitting, you might call it, like zoom watching and just doing whatever. Um, this wheel, I definitely like it for its art yarn capabilities and for its traditionals as well. But the art yarn capabilities is what was really important to me. And I have, in the last few months especially, I have spun a lot of art yarns on this. And if you follow me on Instagram, you can see all the yarns I have made over the last few months on this wheel. And it's been a lot of fun. Like doing this kind of stuff, when I want the beat to go through on the Lendrum, I had to increase my take up quite a bit, and it would, you know, snap or something would happen. Casper's has found its way onto the wheel. It hasn't. He is actually very good about staying away from everything fiber related. He gets jealous. That's the reason why he drops by and goes like, "Are you still spinning? Aren't you done yet?" But he doesn't bother me with the spinning. He has a very soft fur. During the pandemic, is once I tried to groom him. It was kind of a disaster. I was very nervous doing it, and I got some of his fur, but his fur was so short. I sent it to my friend Kent, who said he will try spinning it. He gave up as well, and he just put it in a stuffed toy so that his dog Frankie can enjoy Casper's presence during the pandemic. Yeah, and that's what I feel. There is a place for every kind of wheel. I still wouldn't. I'm not willing to give away my Lendrum to anyone just because this wheel can do everything. I feel I need to keep that wheel around for maybe when I might need it. But that's what it is. It's like, every wheel has its own thing. Like if I were to travel, I would still take my hands and I would avoid taking this wheel. This wheel is actually pretty good for travel. It folds down, it has a nice handle here with which I can easily travel with it too. But it is heavy. It is heavier than my Lendrum. So if I wanted to travel with a treadle wheel, I would pick my Lendrum over this one. Plus, this one I don't want it damaged in any way during travel. So this is my stay at home kind of wheel. That's how I kind of see it. So even though it has great travel capabilities, this one is precious to me. I don't want any damage to come on it. And And since now it is my wheel, I am like, no, I want to treat it with utmost care. Not that I wasn't treating it with utmost care before. So, but that's what it is. It's like everything has its place, everything has its capabilities of what it is possible to do. I'm really liking the way this yarn is coming, and I get these spirals in it, the thick and thin. I purposely spun it like this, so even in the single two ply I would get some texture in it, and it's not like a boring two ply. So just wanted to stop and mention that while I was spinning, because I was loving it. In case somebody is thinking that why does this two ply look like that, it is has been done intentionally. And let's make a stack. There is some sparkle in the stacks as well, which is fun, the way it gets trapped in there. Ah, I always do that. I just move my hands too quickly. That is one of the things which some people don't like about the open orifice, but it makes it so much more easier to pass these big yarns through. And I was way too close. I can be further back, but then you won't get to see what I'm doing. So I'm trying to manage camera angles at the same time. And Craft does have distributors everywhere, but I will point you out, Denise, uh, to the right place for this view. I am not a distributor, so I'm just a person who loves this view. I'm realizing that now it's like, I don't know, after I've spun for a little bit, that now my stack sections are coming a little less often than what they were coming before. So at some point I must have decided that, oh, I don't want to put the stack so often and spin for a little bit. So it'll be interesting. At the end, the yarn will have this variation of when and where the stacks appear. And the setup I'm spinning on is with the overdrive bobbin. This bobbin is huge. It is, you can see the size of it. It's as big as my hand. It has the capability of spinning almost a pound of fiber if you want on it. And this is again not, this is an addition that you can put with your wheel. I really like it for the art yarns if I'm putting in a lot of yardage on it. But their jumbo setup, which is kind of like their standard size, which holds like, I think 7 or 8 ounces on that bobbin, which is still quite a lot. In that too, you can put in pack in a lot of yardage. So it's not, this one is just, I don't know. I keep going back and forth between doing that setup and this setup. In that, I usually fill up the bobbin to the very top. This one I like sometimes for these very textured yarns that I don't have to worry about running out of space. When I'm, spinning a lot of texture and a lot of yardage, I can keep packing it on, and I still haven't managed to fill up these bobbins. So that way it kind of gives me that flexibility that, oh, I can keep spinning on it and not worry about running out of room. I almost missed that yellow stack. So in theory, when I had thought about making this yarn, I've seen videos of this yarn being made. This is not uh, something I've invented or whatever. This has technique has been around for a while. I've seen JC Boggs video with it. I've seen videos of Sarah Anderson in it. I've seen variations which Susie Brown from Fibery Goodness has done on it. So there is a lot of this yarn. Even Esther Rogers has done a bunch of this. She recently recommended that you can put stuff in between this. I can put like sparkle in between this and then spin that as inside the stack or locks in it. So there are a lot of possibilities. But what I was coming to was that when I had thought that when I'm making the stack, my wheel is spinning anti-clockwise and my core is coming out straight, that I would land up unspinning my that ply of mine and my yarn would break. Uh, that's the that's the thing I kept thinking about. Like, I tend to overthink about what's going to happen. But that wasn't the case because you're kind of holding your yarn pretty close. So all that untwisting and then twisting in the opposite direction, it's all happening within that stacked area. So it's not like you are untwisting your spun up singles in any way. And I'll have to do a little bit of self promo. I can't help it. It's a part of doing this. If you would like to contribute, you enjoy these videos of me spinning or me working in the clay studio or just doing whatever I'm doing, sometimes knitting, sometimes weaving, um, and you feel like you learn something, uh, feel free to jump on to my Patreon page. The link is on the screen there, and you can contribute as little as $3 a month. With higher contributions a month, you can, get other things like discounts on my website or free shipping and or early purchase options on my new work, things like that. Uh, I was just reading your comment and forgot this. So you spun those two plies from some other dyed roving. Yes. So these two plies that I've spun up out here, these were spun out of a roving that was. It's actually a blend uh, from Homestead Hobbyist. He's still in business, but he is currently not in Washington, and some of his fiber is available in the local stores in Washington. I know Stilly Rivers in Washington carries some of his fibers. Let me see if I can put a link to that in this chat. Um, I have no power on my phone. Let's see if I can pull it up. Stilly. So this was a blend of 50% merino, 25% baby alpaca, and 25% mulberry silk, and it has beautiful colors in it. So that's the dark fiber that I spun, and open in Safari, copy the link, and I can send it to you on the Facebook chat so you can see that. Give me a second. Where is my live feed? Okay. Paste. Okay. So you can get some of the fiber blends from uh, Fibery from Homestead Hobbyist out there, and so that's what the dark ply is, which is this one here. So you can see it has hints of blue, red, green, lots of silk in it. It was really fun to spin this. And then the other ply is the same thing, except I've added small bits of yellow. So I spun with the dark, and in between I used to ply in a small section with a yellow bat I made. That was a bat I made with merino silk and some sparkle in it. So that's what that is. So he has some beautiful blends like that, which are great. It's not just like a regular hand painted top. Um, if you go to Stilly Rivers, the website I pointed out, you can see the spinning supplies that she has. In that, there are some of his fibers. I don't have any of the raw stuff available right now. Well, I have some in my stash, but it'll take me a while to dig that out. But yeah, Ken from Homestead Hobbyist and I used to do a lot of the local shows together. He moved towards to the East Coast in March, April of last year. I think it was kind of like the beginning of the pandemic. That's what I'm trying to recollect. I think that's when it was. And so he's moved there for now. So I don't know. The show situation has still been kind of iffy all over. So I don't think he's doing any shows. There are no shows around yet. But he has some amazing fiber blends. His were actually some of the first fiber blends I used when I learned how to spin. And that is one thing I can let you know, Denise, that when you're starting off, which you already know that you don't need to compromise on the cost, don't start with cheap fiber or fiber at a discount, which is compacted and all. It'll make the spinning experience just so bad. So I highly recommend his fibers to spin with. Uh, his was the first. It gave me enough confidence to, after my first spin, to say that, hey, I know to spin and I cannot do anything. And then I experimented with some of the cheap fibers or some, and not necessarily if it's cheap, it's bad. It's just like you have to know what is good. What is well prepped fiber, well dyed, not compacted. Another good source for a really good hand painted top is Edgewood Garden. She is local here in Washington State as well, pretty close to where I live actually. She has a beautiful hand dyed top. Um, these are people who are local, like Washington local to me. Uh, there are so many other amazing fiber artists uh, all over. There is Inglewood Fibers. There is Hip Strings has a beautiful fiber blends as well. Some great bats to spin to. Who else? Into the World. has amazing colors. So that's if you are specifically looking for bats, Nicole Frost of Frost Yarns does amazing bats. But if you haven't spun it at all, I would recommend starting with uh, top first, then a bat, because people feel a little overwhelmed with textured bats as to how to spin them. So you can start with good tops from Edgewood Garden. And Ilga does a really nice job of putting colors together. And from all the fiber blends I've spun of hers, none of them have bled so far. So that's what I really like. Like really nice, strong colors. Another good one is actually even, but that's in Canada, is Sweet Georgia Yarns. I like the way her fiber blends are made as well. um, Not fiber blends as such, but the way she dyes her tops, there is a lot of consistency in it. So even if you like run out of a colorway, you can order another one later, and you'll get a pretty close colorway. So she does, for her stuff is a lot more consistent from fiber to fiber. But I kind of like a mix of stuff every time. So I rarely buy the same colorway again, especially not for fiber. But some people like that consistency for a bigger project. Lots of good resources out there. And now with everything being online, there are just so many people doing pretty cool shows, virtual shows where you can get access to all of that no matter where you are in the world or where they are in the world. And those of you who joined me at the very beginning of this, you must have realized I was like kind of struggling in the beginning as to having good enough tension on the yarn and making my stacks nice and clean for the initial few. But now you can see it's like such a rhythm. I don't really need to think much about it, and it's like my hands just flow easily. That's the thing with art yarns or any kind of craft like which you're doing by hand. There'll come a point where it just clicks, and then it's muscle memory. So even though I had spun up a sample before to see how I wanted to make this yarn, things change, and or you forget exactly what you did. But I realized that just passing that yarn through that delta reduced that take up just enough that I could then go ahead and make my stacks much easily. Your friend gave you some first alpaca cut. Oh, that's good. Oh, the mice got to it. Oh, that's not good. Alpaca has this. It's a really very warm fiber, but I have tried spinning it just as it is, and there is like no crimp to it, right? It's kind of like Casper's hair, no crimp. So I like alpaca and wool blends. So this fiber also had like around 25% alpaca in it, but it has 50% merino and silk in it. So that really helps in kind of making a good spinnable fiber, in my opinion. 100% alpaca I've not really enjoyed spinning with. Uh, I have another roving from a local farm here, which is alpaca and their local wool, and that's also, it's just so soft. It's amazingly soft alpaca, but that's what I needed blended with something. Another good source for fiber where I purchase uh, when I want larger quantities is RH Lindsay. That is just plain white. They have started carrying some colored roving as well, but you purchase there by the pound. So it is a lot of fiber. But if you're learning and stuff, and then a pound is never enough to learn anything. But it's very reasonable pricing for Merino, Falkland. Yeah, Falkland is really nice. I like spinning with that. Um, I use a lot of their merino and stuff, and I make I dye it myself and then make bats and other things out of it, or even spin it as a top. But that's plain white. Another good source is tennis fiber farm. That's TENNEY or TENNY fiber farm. And again, over there too, you have to. There she has some colored tops and stuff, but it's by the pound, so you need to commit to a lot. So some people, when they're starting off and when you're not sure exactly what kind of fiber you like to spin with, maybe getting a pound of it might not be the first thing you go for. So you can always start small with the indie dyers, get your favorite colors so that is enjoyable to spin, and then later on you can look into other things. I'm really liking these stacks. They're not the quickest things to spin, but you definitely get into the rhythm of it, which is what is more important to me. All right, Denise, thanks for joining in, and I will forward you the spinning wheel info for sure. And hope you get one which you really like. That's the most important part, right? I want more spinners in this world. My yarns, my other ply is so thin at this spot. Let's see if it even holds. That's the advantage of having silk in your fiber. It's pretty strong, even if it is very skinny. So, are there any other kinds of yarns which you would like to see me spin? I can't promise I will do all the yarns you suggest, but at least it plants the seed in my head and then I think about it, and then eventually, at some point, I might spin it. That's the reason why I ask. And I love these see-through bobbins. You can actually see the yarn that I'm spinning, which makes it a lot more fun. Okay, let's move the hook. These are some new hooks I've gotten, which are a little bit tighter than before. They just needs a little working. It's going to be some significant yardage when it comes to this yarn. Which time has it been? Almost been live for an hour. I should go take a break. need to get some work done in the studio. I might go live there. The clay studio, that is. Now I feel like I have two jobs. I go live here, I go live in the studio. That's fun. I do enjoy the company on my lives because otherwise it gets really boring. Casper can provide only so much company, right? After a while, he's like, you're on your own, entertain yourself. All right, I'm gonna take a break. The yarn is time consuming. I still have maybe half the bobbin still left, so there's still quite a bit of spinning left to do on this. Come on. It doesn't want to go in. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you to all the Patreon supporters. And I will see y'all next time when I go live, either from the Fiber Studio or from the Clay Studio. So I'll see y'all later. Bye.